We are on location for today's video. We are outside a Harbor Freight store, and honestly, I cannot believe it has taken me this long, but I have heard so many good things about Harbor Freight from both craft buddies and other creators that not only do I need to check it out for their tools, but I also need to head in there for their finds for crafters, sewists, and DIYers. So, you know, I check all those boxes, so we have got to go in and check it out. We're gonna go in, see what they have to offer, and then we're gonna come back here, see what got the whiskey stamp of approval and what's coming home with me to my craft room. Let's just start with aisle one. Tons of tools, cordless screwdrivers. So first impressions, walking down the first aisle, everything from tools to accessories, sanding discs here, similar to what you're going to find at any other hardware store. This is a 6-in-1 screwdriver. What I like is you can go from Phillips to flathead. I need one of these for my craft room because I'm always stealing the ones out of the garage and my husband can't ever find them because I forget to put them away. So this is going to be nice to have in my room for just simple tasks. I did like that they had a ton of options for gloves, both disposable and reusable. I grabbed a couple pairs of work gloves, and I like to have these not only for traditional uses, but I also like to have them for things like quilting and other things where I don't want to get any chance of anything on my fingers getting on there. So I actually found a section with a lot of like crafty type stuff that includes some of the items that I came here for, one being these right back here. Let me show you. One, I wanted these for sewing. You can use them as a tube turner. So you can grab it and turn your project inside out. And I've been using a bunch of makeshift ways to fix it, so I think this is going to be great. They also have a smaller one of these hemostat locking clamps, but I figure if I get the big one, then I'll have it for all my uses instead of having multiples of them. The other thing I was seeing all over the place were these Quinn scissors, as well as these. These are $8.99. Multi-purpose scissors. Okay. And then there's 11-inch shears up here for $11.99. And it says it's good for heavy fabric, cardboard, leather, and plastic. Those look like beasts, but I figured that would be helpful for cutting my fabric. It's tweezers. That is really nice. Don't need any more tweezers. I'm set for that. But if you need tweezers for like Cricut or for anything in your craft room, grab that. And something I've heard a ton of people talk about are these hook and pick sets. And so, yes, I could see these being helpful for a Cricut crafter. You get 6 pieces for $5. This one looks a little thinner. For me, I like the thicker handle. I've tried these before and they work just fine, but I don't like them in my hand. But if you don't mind the thinner feel, 6 of those for $5 is a good deal. So if that's something that wouldn't bother you, grab it. We're in the auto body aisle, and this one is definitely coming home with me. These are great for your rulers. You put them on your acrylic rulers, and it's going to hold it. So when you're cutting your fabric, it's not going to move around on you. You can also opt for like a bigger one here, or they also have these smaller suction cups, but I like the orange color. We're going to go with this. They also have this size in like silver. We're now in the painting aisle. And they have a lot of great paintbrushes, but what I wanted to grab are some of these. It's an 8-piece terry cloth staining pad, $4.29. Drop cloths are a great thing to buy for literally just the fabric. So look at this. This is normally $10.99. It's on sale for $7.99 now, and it's a 6x9 canvas drop cloth. I used this a while ago in our old house to make a really big like body-sized pillow with vinyl on it. But this is awesome to have as, you know, you can make signs with it and put vinyl on it. You can make bags. You can, you know, you don't have to sew to be able to get it. But drop cloths are awesome. And the $7.99 for this, great deal. These acid shop brushes are great for getting stain or paint into the corners of your project. And you get 36 of these for $3. You can never go wrong with shop towels. I like them to clean up, but I also like to use the lint-free ones for stain as well. So something to keep in mind if you stain a lot like I do. Another paint aisle find is this draft paper. It is 15 inches wide and you get 60 yards of it. This is great for not only you can let your kids draw on it. I also like to have this on hand for a quick little wrap job for a gift. You can wrap up something really quick, add a really fun bow, and you're good to go. Nobody is selling wrapping paper for that cheap, so it's thick enough that it is going to cover it. And I also like it to just line the table when either I'm crafting or my kids have a project. Something else I'm grabbing is 3-piece spreaders for not only applying Cricut vinyl, but we can also use it for scraping off our mats and just pushing down anything else. 3 of these for $2.99, and they are a good size, so we're gonna grab these. These are so nice to have. I have a Rust-Oleum one at home, but you put it on top of your spray paint, spray adhesive, whatever, and then you just squirt it. It helps so you don't get it all over your hands. And this one here, off-brand, $4.99. I would definitely recommend one of these to you if you don't have one and you spray paint, for sure. These I just stumbled upon. They're craft magnetic blocks. It just says glue it onto your project, but like these are, they're big. You get 2 in the pack. They're 47 cents. I might grab a couple of these for projects. This will hold up like nice frames on the magnetic stuff. I saw these really fun, colorful, hard-sided containers. They had so many different sizes, and while there are traditional uses for these would also be awesome if you are a photographer or if you have a creative business where you're taking cameras or really any type of electronic and you want to make sure that it is waterproof and safe. Definitely somewhere to check out. I don't think I would think let's go to Harbor Freight for photography storage, but you could definitely do this. Some of them roll as well, so something to keep in mind if that is your business. Right next to that, I saw a bunch of storage options, which I was really impressed with all the different options that they had, as well as the price. And this just goes to show that a lot of times at craft stores, you are paying a specialty quote unquote price. That's why I like to go to Dollar Tree. That's why I like sometimes buy like the fishing lure tackle boxes, because you can get that storage for much cheaper because you're not buying a craft storage item. I'm gonna grab one of these $2.99 containers because I think this is going to be really good for my sewing labels. I have a Dollar Tree one, but I think being able to have them all in one, we're gonna test it out and see. Spoiler alert, I brought it home and it works perfectly for my labels, so definitely a big fan of this $2.99 organizer. I gave myself plenty of time so I could walk around and really see what they had. Not only the items I had heard other people talk about, but also the hidden gems. This, for under $4, you get 6 pieces in a wire wheel set. You put these into your drill, and I love them for woodworking because they are one of the easiest ways to distress wood. I also have been wanting to test out one of these cutoff saws for a long time, especially here in Illinois when it gets so cold. I wanted to have an option of cutting like dowel rods and paint stir sticks without having to go out in my garage in the middle of December while I'm crafting. So this came home with me. How nice is this workbench? Only 160 bucks? Cut on that. You could Cricut on that. That's really nice. Another area I was so impressed by were their toolboxes, because these are not just toolboxes, they can absolutely be used for craft rooms. They have so many different colors, so many different accessories, and the drawers are spacious. So if you are looking for a new table or craft cart, definitely check out Harbor Freight. They also have all of these magnetic things. So like glove holder, a power strip, cup holder. This can hold anything from paper towels to stabilizer to whatever. But the thing I was really excited about is $139. This is about the price of what a Michaels card is. It's bigger and sturdier. So if you're trying to put like a heat press on top or a Cricut, oh my gosh, the colors are awesome. Look at all the different colors it comes in. If I didn't already have one, I would definitely be considering that. The cool thing about all these accessories is that they come in the different colors to match your cart. So I'm gonna get this in white, but you can get purple, green, yellow, blue, literally any color that they have the storage in, which I like that. If you do trade shows or vendor fairs, worth looking at the dollies and carts. You got one down here that folds really nicely, so definitely worth checking it out, especially if you load in and load out to vendor fairs by yourself. This could help you a ton. If you do any sort of measuring in whatever hobby you do, they've got a ton of their brand, this Pittsburgh, of things that you can use. Everything from speed squares to miter squares to these large rulers. I was originally going to grab this one, but then I ended up going with the 48-inch one just because it was a little bit thicker, and I thought this would be awesome for cutting long strips of fabric. I also thought it would be a lot nicer to not have acrylic to get nicked. Of course, it takes me to the second to last aisle to get the item that I came in for primarily, and that were these magnetic little bowls. Now, they are for working with tools, essentially. That's what they're meant for, to put your wrenches or your different bolts and things while you're working in the garage. I grabbed one of these to corral my pins, and I will show you how well they work in a little bit. So they've got a ton of different options depending on what hobby you do and what you want to keep together. I just had the nicest employee show me where to find these magnetic like wands, I guess. I saw Chelsea at She Sew Seams. I've mentioned her before. I love her content. She got a magnetic little stick here. So if you drop your pins on the floor, it will help pick it up, or if you drop nail screws, whatever. And especially with little kiddos, I want to be able to make sure that I have that covered. So they've got two options. They've got one that you can squeeze and the magnet comes off, which I think will be good to drop the pins back in the bowl so I don't have to like poke myself maybe by pulling them off. And the other one you can just glide over the top a lot easier. So I bought both plus the little one. I'll take one for the team and I will test them out. I always love when I go into a store and I've got a super helpful employee and somebody that doesn't try to like make me feel out of place because I'm a woman in a hardware store. So check, check, check. My last add to my cart before I left was this cordless power cutter. I had another one and it recently kind of petered out on me, but I wanted it to try it for cardboard cutting, but it's also supposed to be able to cut fabric. I have not tested it yet, but if you've tried it before, let me know down in the comments. So overall, Harbor Freight stores are smaller than what you would see if you go into like a Menards or a Home Depot, but honestly, they pack a lot of punch into that small area. So even if you have a smaller Harbor Freight and you think they might not carry it, I would definitely check it out because they fit a lot into that small store. We made it to the final aisle, aisle 10, and my cart is full, so let's go check out. I'd say great success. Got a bag full of goodies, and I was very pleasantly surprised, and I'm kind of ticked at myself I never went in there sooner. We're back in my craft room. So I grabbed the small screwdriver, I grabbed a small hammer, and a level. These are just so nice if you've got like a craft room, or if you've got even just like a little craft caddy to put those in there. They were all like super inexpensive. I also grabbed some of these small clamps that you can crank and release, because in my craft space I am always making stuff that I need to dry and hold together. So you can just crank them like the wood clamps that I use outside. We got a little more space with that bag out of the way. So up next I want to talk about the magnetic things that I grabbed. I got two of these magnetic little, they're supposed to be for parts, like auto parts or wrenches, tools like that when you're working so you don't lose them. These are great because I am klutzy and I always knock over my pins. All in here. It is magnetic. This was a good buy. The back of these are also magnetic, so if you've got a magnetic workbench, if you've got anything like that, you can definitely just stick it to that, or you can just have the bowl sit there. I'm also going to use these in my garage for screws, nails, etc. when I'm working on a project, because that's another thing. If I just put the box of screws there, I probably will 9 times out of 10 knock it over. I think I'm going to use all three of them in different ways, but definitely if you are like me and you are worried about stepping on pins or little kids or whatever, these are great. I always can use more clamps both in the garage workshop as well as up here. I got the 4-inch and the 2-inch ones, and these ratchet down, and then these heads can adjust so that you get the best clamp for what you're doing. So again, I always make stuff and I'm like, I wish I could just have something hold it, and my clamps are downstairs, so it'll be nice to have some up here so that I can use them. Same with these Quinn scissors. These are for a variety of different things. They are a little bit, they feel heavy duty. So when you're cutting with them, they have a little bit of like a resistance, I guess, but it's not hurting my hand. It's just not as like super nice fabric scissors, but these will definitely do, especially if you're cutting like a few layers at once. These also have a lifetime warranty, which I think is really nice, and an ergonomic handle, which I don't know if I have big hands, but sometimes scissors just drive me nuts. So that is really helpful, is that handle. So then you just put it down. You can easily cut your fabric how you want, and then when you want to take it off, you just let go and the suction cup comes off. You put it on and you literally squeeze the handle, and that's it. Super quick and easy, but this is a game changer. It's a lot easier to hold it than having it slide all over your fabric and have like a wonky line, which I really appreciate. I hope you loved this video and found some items that you want to check out at your local Harbor Freight. You guys have to let me know what other stores should I do this at, whether I've already been there or not. For my first time, am very impressed. I can see why people have been telling me to go. So if you're one of those people, thanks for bearing with me. Finally went. I will definitely be back. I'll be sharing my thoughts of these all over the fall and winter season and beyond as I'm using them. So you'll see them pop up in videos. And if you've got any questions on the products that I shared today, if I can answer them, leave them down in the comments and I will get back to you just as quickly as I can. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to let me know your favorite find down below. Also let me know what other stores you want to see me do, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!